Hello and welcome to Jonny Likes to Cook, the brand new web series that teaches you simple but delicious recipes. Today's recipe is a tomato and olive tart made with beautiful crispy puff pastry. It's very simple to make and it will only take you 20 minutes. And the ingredients you'll need is 150 grams of puff pastry, 4 ripe beautiful tomatoes, some sort of an olive paste, or if you can't get any olive paste, use pesto. You need probably about 4 to 5 tablespoons of that, and some salt and pepper, and a splash of olive oil. The first thing you want to do is grab your baking tray and put it into a preheated oven at 240 degrees Celsius or 450 degrees Fahrenheit. This will heat the tray up nicely so that when you put your pastry on it, it will become deliciously crispy. So now that your baking tray is heating in the oven, we want to get our pastry on a floured surface. Place a bit of flour on top as well, just to stop it from sticking to the rolling pin. And you want to roll out your pastry to the thickness of a £1 coin. Once you've done that, you then want to cut it into 4 equal pieces. Squares or circles, it's entirely up to you, but I'm going to do squares today. Now that you've rolled out your pastry and divided it into 4 pieces, you want to prick the surface of the pastry with a fork. Now you want to do this about 1 inch inside from the edge, which ensures that the middle of the pastry doesn't rise, but the outside does, which gives you a really nice layer of lovely, tasty, crispy pastry. Now that you've pricked the pastry with a fork, it's time to put the olive paste on. Now I'm only going to prepare 2 because my work surface isn't that big. So grab your lovely paste. This is an olive and pesto paste, and a nice mixture of the 2. If you can get the olive only paste, then that will work just as well as any pesto paste, green or red. 1 tablespoon should be sufficient for each piece of pastry. Ensure that you spread the paste evenly across the surface, but ensuring that you have approximately a 1 inch gap between the edge of the pastry and your paste. The next thing you want to do is slice your tomatoes. Now I will go with approximately 1 tomato per piece. You want to make sure that the tomato slices are about ½ a centimetre thick. Don't make them too thin, because if they're too thin, then they'll just whimper in the oven, because the oven's extremely hot. Now that you've sliced your tomatoes, layer them up on your pastry within your 1 inch gap. Make sure they overlap. Get really generous with them because the oven's so hot, you need all the moisture to make sure that the paste doesn't dry out. Now that you've got your tomatoes on your pastry, finish them off with a good sprinkle of salt, a good bit of pepper, and a small glug of good quality olive oil. Now your tarts are prepared, get the tray out of the oven and pop them on with a fish slice. Now be careful, because after a while this pastry becomes quite hard to work with once it starts to warm up. Now you want to pop your pastries into the oven for a good 15 minutes or until they become golden brown. In our oven, it's taken 10 minutes to cook these tarts, but that's because it's a fan-assisted oven. So if you have a fan-assisted oven, make sure you keep a good eye on them because they could get a bit burnt if you leave them in for 15 minutes. So make sure you use a cloth or some oven mittens and get your tarts out. I like to serve my tarts with a little bit of salad on the side to keep it nice and healthy. So just get yourself a fish slice and grab your tarts, just lay it out like that. Finish it off with a lovely little sprig of fresh basil. Just like that. As you can see, it's an incredibly simple tart to make and it will impress all of your friends at your dinner party. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of Jonny Likes to Cook. Please subscribe to the channel and follow us on Twitter at Jonny_cooks. If you make the tart, or if you're making any beautiful bits of food this week, tweet them in with hashtag Jonny Likes to Cook. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next week.